all for joining us for this panel. Now, research tells us that 95% of British Jews have visited Israel at least once in their lives. That's an incredible number, much higher than any other large Jewish community in the diaspora. It tells us that the Jews of Britain are highly engaged with Israel. It also says something about the ease of that engagement. There are more than 60 weekly flights between Ben Gurion Airport and London or Manchester. And if you book early enough, some are even reasonably priced. And you don't have to fly. If you want to know what's going on in Israel from the comfort of your home computer or tablet or smartphone, all you have to do is go to the Haaretz.com and everything is at your fingertips. Only it's not really that easy. You may have found a bargain price ticket, but by the time you land, your back is cramped from the non-reclining chair. You've got indigestion from the soggy, expensive smoked salmon sandwich, and then when you finally land, you discover that your luggage has been sent to Tenerife instead of Tel Aviv. And that's even before you've left the terminal building. But you already knew that because you regularly read Haaretz and you know that things are far from perfect in the Jewish state. Actually, sometimes what you read makes you rather ashamed to be a Zionist. Now, we have it on no less of an authority than the leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition that calling someone a Zio is a vile epithet, and that our Jewish friends are no more responsible for the actions of Israel or the Netanyahu government than our Muslim friends are for those of various self-styled Islamic states or organizations. But what about those of us who do feel responsible? Those who feel, or at least want to feel, that being a Zionist is a noble and moral calling, as well as a natural thing for us as Jews. How do we square that away with our personal criticisms of everyday Israel and the policies of his government, and with the often disproportionate criticism we hear around us here in Britain and other places around the world? Now, it would be wonderful if being a Zionist was as easy as booking a ticket and then boarding a flight, but it never was and probably never will be. Being a Zionist doesn't mean being in love with the flawless self-image of a perfect Israel and closing one's eyes and ears to any criticism. Being a Zionist means holding Israel to high standards and having expectations of Israel. But just how can our expectations go? And can those who live and love Israel from afar voice those expectations and expect Israelis, who ultimately will be the ones paying the price, to take the diaspora's expectations into consideration? And what about Israelis' expectations from the Jews of diaspora? Do we accept too much from each other? Are we taking each other for granted? Can we accept the fact that being a Zionist may never be easy? Now, with me this morning on our panel are four panelists who are engaged with that meeting and often that clash of expectations between Israel and diaspora. Sir Mick Davis, who in addition to a successful international business career, has over the last 10 years headed two of the most important and influential organizations in British Jewry. From 2006, he was chairman of UJA, the United Jewish Israel Appeal, and is now chairman of the trustees of the Jewish Leadership Council. Professor and former Brigadier General Aryeh Eldad is a publicist, a plastic surgeon, and a politician. For 25 years, served in a long series of positions on the Israeli Defense Forces, culminating in the IDF's chief medical officer. Following his military career, he served for 10 years as a Knesset member, representing a changing list of right-wing parties. Hannah Weisfeld, the former education director of Habonim Dror, Zionist Youth Movement, former chairman of the Jewish Social Action Forum, and for the last 5 years, founding director of Yachad, the pro-Israel and pro-peace movement here in the UK. And finally, Efrat Shapira Rosenberg, a lawyer, broadcaster, and pioneering social activist in the fields of religious pluralism and feminism in Israel, who in addition to a long list of media and advocacy roles, is also the project manager of Avichai, one of the largest private foundations in Israel dedicated to Jewish continuity and tolerance. Thank you all for joining me this morning. Please come to the stage.